Welcome to Pageants and Tangents, the cipher is live. I'm Adrian, the founder, keeping this asylum in drive. Next up is Haley, dancer with the crown. Harvard journalism student, the most sensible in town. Then we got Peyton, Miss Georgia Vol with the art. Speed painting, chicken lover, she's the emotional heart. Finally Morgan, waist snatcher, training the best. Mama Morgan off the rails, putting the crew to the test.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pageants and Tangents, episode 7, where we occasionally talk about pageants. First things first, we have a returning guest who's looking. Why are you looking so sheepish, Geanna? Because she disappeared. Well, she's doing a passable impersonation of Peyton because she's lasted for 3 seconds before she disappears. Anyway, I was going to say we have a special guest. Oh, am I?
He's not muted. Morgan, you might want to sign out and come back.
Drop off and come back on, Morgan. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, guys. All right. Geanna, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I apologize for this. There's a weird quirk with the streaming software at the moment. When I play a media clip, sometimes I come back on and people can't hear me, which Geanna might be very thankful for. But Geanna, I was just saying, your returning guest co-host taking the place of Peyton, who is currently, I believe, she might be back in Georgia, but she was at Miss Teen Volunteer America in Jackson over the weekend. And I told her, because I had a call with her, I think on Friday night, and I said, Peyton, I'll find someone to replace you because first off, you'll be tired. Secondly, you won't have a voice because that was her first voice, our first night there. And she was already sounding, like Rod Stewart. And I'm like, Peyton, it's probably not going to be good if you hit. So, and, she's like, oh, I'll be fine. He said she feels like she's been hit by a truck. So I was right. But Peyton, I hope you're resting up because she also starts a new job on Monday. So that's exciting things for our Georgia Peach. But Geanna, welcome back to the show. How are things going for you?
Thank you. They've been going good. I've been running around like crazy with appearances for like my pageant and stuff, but we've been holding down the fort, making it week by week. Little big things planned, but you'll see them soon.
Great. How's the weather going for you?
It's really foggy. It's really gross. I think when we were talking, I said gross, and grosser. But
we just need to work on expanding your vocabulary. It's okay. You use what's the fanciest word you can think of to describe your weather right now?
Ooh, fanciest word. Rubbish.
You just try to say that with an Australian accent.
Fired. Shots fired.
It's very foggy. Okay.
I don't know what you think you sound like, but I hope I don't sound like that. You sound like someone trying to do an English accent is what you sound like. That doesn't sound Australian at all. Quick, Geanna, say crikey.
Crikey.
I don't know.
What am I doing?
Oh, so Geanna clearly is not taking accent impersonation lessons. I'll leave Geanna alone for a sec. We'll circle back up to Haley. Haley, how have things been going for you?
Things are good. I have class on Tuesday, and then I'm off for spring break next week, which I'm very excited about. It's a hybrid program, so spring break is not as exciting when you don't actually have to go to class, but I'm still excited nonetheless. Decorated for Easter today. Very fun. And that's pretty much what I got going on right now that I can talk about.
I can't believe you're already on spring break. You only just started, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm about 6 weeks in. Also, I'm like 50 days into my Duolingo streak. And I'm very proud and excited about that.
How many days?
I think 50. I can check. It's a little over 50.
I mean, are you fluent yet?
Yeah.
Like, hello, how are you?
Okay.
I'm from America. Like
Spanish?
Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show us. Quick, Haley, come on, show us.
Hola. Mi nombre es Haley.
Okay, Okay, now that 50-day Duolingo streak is a bit less impressive. I could say hola as well. I don't need a 50-day Duolingo streak.
You caught me off guard.
Did you take Spanish in high school?
No, I took French.
Oh.
Yeah. So I can
Take French.
understand French, but I can't speak it for anything. My French teacher was Bulgarian. So she spoke French very much from the throat. And she H sound when she speaks French that I am completely incapable of. It sounded like she was coughing up a lung when she spoke French, and I just couldn't do it.
Okay.
Tried though. Yeah. Oh, 54 days. 54 days.
54 days for hola. Mi nombre es.
God, you know what? I'll practice for next time, and I'll have a whole paragraph for you in Spanish, and none of you will understand it, and it won't matter.
I took Spanish in high school and in college, and in college they made us start doing like verbal presentations, and I learned how to say I do not like to speak Spanish because it's very difficult. And that was my verbal presentation in every class.
I love that for you.
Like,
that's totally fair though.
I'll take the L on that. Like, I'll just try to pass the class and like the test, but
because obviously I am Chinese, I look Chinese, but my Chinese is, let's call it substandard, to say the least. My brother, and to be specific, this is Cantonese, not Mandarin. So Cantonese is what's spoken in Hong Kong. Mandarin is mainland China. But my brother went to, because at the time he was starting to be a vet and he was doing his practical over in Hong Kong. And because he looks Chinese, everyone would, just start speaking to him in Chinese, and he couldn't understand any of it. His Chinese is horrific. He lived in Hong Kong, and my Chinese is still better than his. But what he decided to do, and what we both decided to do, is he should memorize in perfect Chinese, I don't know how to speak Chinese. It would
solid.
Use people, it's like what you were saying, Morgan, that if you could just memorize one phrase you learn in a foreign language is I can't speak Spanish, or I can't speak German, or I can't speak Chinese, and you deliver it flawlessly, and then you just watch people's eyes go.
Are you sure?
It's valid.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the only phrase I know is I don't speak Chinese. So anyway, Morgan, you just hurried back, so why don't you catch us up with how your week's been going?
Week's been great. In the middle of trying to slowly move, but we today had a photo shoot that was like 3.5, 4 hours away. So we've been up since 5 a.m. My husband's a photographer, so we drove all the way up to the upstate of South Carolina, did an iconic photo shoot that was a collaboration of 2 different female designers, which I love because of what today is. And then drove it all the way back down and came in on 2 wheels, and I came in and threw the laptop open, and I'm here. We're vibing.
We appreciate you rushing back. And guys, by the way, I should have said this at the beginning. We're having an International Women's Day themed episode because today, at least for you guys, is International Women's Day. Over here, it's Monday because I live in the future. It was Haley's suggestion, and I think it's a good one. So we'll be discussing. Speaking is hard. We will be discussing International Women's Day, and I'm going to get Haley to take the reins for that discussion. Just before we get to that, Haley, how are you feeling about leading said discussion? Are we confident?
I feel fabulous about leading said discussion. I have my notes here on pink paper, of course. I also forgot to mention, we have pink trees now in the background. So if you're watching this on YouTube, enjoy the trees. But yeah, I'm pink and purple for International Women's Day. I thought this would be fun because it is a pageant podcast after all, and we should talk about women. So
yes.
Yeah.
It does make sense. All right. I'm going to play a quick clip about my book, and then I'm going to get Haley to segue us over to our discussion on International Women's Day. So you're going to see a clip for the Beginner's Guide to Pageantry. I just want to give a shout out to the people who've actually bought it, because as I keep going, more and more people tell me they've got it, and I don't know because obviously Amazon doesn't know who bought it. But I will say, guys, it's Beginner's Guide, and yet the people who've been buying it, I don't know, like if you guys know Bailey Guy, obviously you know Crystal Foot, and I'm like, Crystal bought the book. Crystal is not a beginner, but she's getting a lot of value from the book. And I got Morgan to write the forward. Morgan, just before we play the clip, how long did it take you to write the forward?
I have this beautifully neurotic thing about me where when I'm not going to throw myself under the bus in public. It took me after an afternoon into an evening to get it completely written up. I'm not that person who can slowly do things. I was making notes, but in terms of writing it up, afternoon into early evening, not too long at all. But reading it took a whole vacation.
Yeah, she actually read the entire book and destroyed her copy, so I sent her another copy. All right, guys, I'll play a bit about it, and then we'll be back with Hayley directing us for our International Women's Day discussion. See you in a sec. All right, so, guys, this is my book, Beginner's Guide to Pageantry. I wrote it obviously for beginners, but also I think for a bit more. It ended a lot thicker than I intended, but rather than me talking about it, I'm going to get Morgan. Just tell me what you thought about it, because Morgan is the one that wrote the foreword to it. Tell people what you thought briefly.
My foreword was so impressive. Briefly, it's the most in-depth thing. I wasn't even fully expecting it to be as in-depth as it was going into it. It kind of blew my socks off when I tell you, even coming into reading it as someone who's done pageants a million years ago, this is going to be beneficial for the newbie, absolutely, and a beginner 100%, but even the most seasoned veteran, you are going to learn things and you are going to be challenged to level up your game in a way that I don't think even most coaches would think about encouraging you to do. So my favorite part, outside of the fact that it's just incredibly thorough and super in-depth, is the mental aspect that Adrian pushes on this. I have a master's degree in psychology, and I think that oftentimes people underestimate how much of a mental game competing in pageants is. So this is, without giving you any hints or any too many teasers, this is going to be the most in-depth book you will ever read about competing in pageants, but it's also going to lock in on the mental side of pageant prep as well, which is so beneficial, especially looking back hindsight as someone who did compete.
Thank you for that, Morgan. Check's in the mail. Guys, if you want to grab it, just go on Amazon, go to the Beginner's Guide to Pageantry, and now let's get you back to the show. Well, guys, I put up a post on Instagram. Yeah, we are back. I just want to give a shout out to someone, because I put up a post about who inspires you. Who's a woman who inspires you. And someone wrote back, Dr. Jen, I think it's Dr. Jen Stanger. I don't know if you're watching. I apologize if I've mispronounced your name. But Dr. Jen Stanger wrote, my 7-year-old niece who just beat leukemia. So I just want to give a shout out to you, because, I mean, my father used to work as a hematologist, which, for those of you who don't know, is a blood doctor. And so he worked with leukemia a lot. And so for a 7-year-old to be beating leukemia is just absolutely amazing. It's fantastic. I know that something like that is not easy. There could be chemo, there could be bone marrow transplants, which apparently is one of the worst pains that you can have, because they have to push a needle into your hip bone, I think. So that's a start. Well, I mean, International Women's Day, but women come in all shapes, sizes, and ages. So good for you. That's amazing news. Sorry, Hayley. So I hope everyone can hear us. We're going to get Hayley to guide our International Women's Day discussion. Do you want the top left, or should I just leave you where you are?
No, leave me where I am. It's too weird.
Right.
We've tried that before.
Over to you then, Hayley.
Okay. First of all, happy International Women's Day to all of the women watching this, and to you too. Thank you for being here. First of all, I want to talk about how pageantry empowers women. So we always talk about the personal growth that contestants get out of competing in pageantry. I want to go to you first, Adrian. What have you observed in your clients as you've been coaching that has led to women empowerment through that personal growth, especially with interview?
I think the biggest part has really been the networking. I mean, the pageant systems can be quite hit or miss. Hopefully it's going to be more hit than miss as we move forwards. But I think one thing that I've noticed between all contestants is, no matter what system they go into, they will at least find one person who then goes on to become lifelong friends. Mm-hmm. And that may not seem like a big deal to some of you, but what I can tell you is I have friends, acquaintances in countries all over the world. And that never would have happened if I hadn't got into pageantry. So, I mean, for example, Haley, you met Geanna through competing for Miss Earth USA. I don't even know what year, last year, right? At some point. And you guys now talk all the time. And if you can find like-minded women who ambitious, hungry, I mean, for goals, not for pizza, ambitious, hungry, motivated, creative, maybe a bit crazy, I think pageantry allows you to find your tribe, maybe in a way that I don't think anything else does. Because you can go to other places and meet women, like you go to a women's gym. But I think pageantry attracts a certain type of woman that only pageantry does. So I would say that that's been my biggest takeaway, is the network that you form.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something we can all agree with from competing in pageants and going back home and having all of those friends to connect with. And that just expands your network of people who are pushing you to be better every single day. So I want to go to Morgan next. What are your thoughts?
Ugh. I mean, in the training realm, am I sticking in the training realm of things that I've seen?
Up to you.
Oh, there's so many things for. Let me collect. Come back to me. Let me collect.
Okay. Geanna, how does pageantry empower women?
Oh my, there's so many ways that I can't even kind of imagine where I would be in my life if I like hadn't started pageantry at the time that I did, especially because I was really quiet in high school. Like I was a little bit, I don't want to say like fully like an outcast, but like I was not like popular or cool, right? So, um, and I was like, it was weird. I was quiet, but I was loud. Like I was like the loud, obnoxious like kid that like no one talked to. And then yeah. So I think it was like a good way to kind of turn that energy into something like positive and something that was like, what's the word? I don't know, something to do good as opposed to, just being noise, right? So it kind of like allowed me to learn how to use my voice in a way where people like would actually want to learn, right? Or want to listen. And I think that really helped me getting into like my job prospects. Like now that I was looking for like a teaching job after I finished grad school, um, I was like a lot less nervous going into interviews than I feel like I would have been if I hadn't had all the background in pageantry, right? And everyone like always was wondering like, what did you do to prepare for interviews? And I'm like I just from all the pageant practice, like I feel like it really empowered me to like walk into and transfer these skills that I learned in pageantry to my normal job and just be like, hey, like this is me, this is what I stand for as a teacher, very similar to what I stand for with like pageantry, and just kind of apply that. So I think that was like the biggest way that it empowers. And I had something else, but I lost it. If I find it, I'll let you know.
Thank you. That's perfect. Going back.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to sound so contradictory when I say this. So I want to take it from a fitness standpoint because I have done pageants, and I mean, I've done the full round of things, but I want to take it from where I am now. And one way that I will contradict myself, but say that pageants have empowered women, it's kind of almost forced us to embrace vulnerability in a really powerful way, if that makes sense. We walk on the beach in our bikini, it's no big deal. You go to the pool, the water park, whatever. But to go on stage in a swimsuit in front of hundreds or thousands of people, being judged by people lined up in front of you, it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to do. But simultaneously, on the back end and on the preparation side of it, it's forcing you to really put time and effort into yourself, to really empower yourself to become the strongest, healthiest, hopefully healthiest, fittest version of you. And that's not an easy thing for a lot of women to do. It's very tough, and it's a heavy mindset game, but to be able to put in the work for yourself and to show up. And I tell my girls, I always want you to walk off stage after swimsuit and have like a mic drop moment where you're just like, I did everything I could do. I left it all on that stage. And I think we want that for every division of competition, but to be vulnerable enough to be willing to put yourself out there in a swimsuit and be openly judged on, yes, your beauty, yes, your presence, yes, your energy, but also your body, which is a hot topic in today's society anyways. I think that there is something empowering with being vulnerable, with being open to being judged, and there's definitely something empowering with just preparing yourself for the moment that you're going to be stepping on stage and doing that. So yeah, empowers us to be vulnerable and to put ourselves out there, which is not an easy thing to do, but a really radical and cool thing to do. And it's something that you'll leave the pageant as a better person than you walked into it as.
For sure. One thing I always tell people who don't know anything about pageants is we all have these goals about getting that body that we've always wanted, or getting the career that we've always wanted, or starting volunteering, and all of these other goals that we have for ourselves. And a lot of people never get started because they don't have that internal motivation. But when you sign up for a pageant, you have a deadline, you have goals, and you can put yourself on a path to prepare for that pageant and come out a better person than when you signed up. And they're all things that you wanted to do anyways. So I love that. So I wanted to ask you guys about how pageantry can help individuals achieve career success. And I'm going to go to Geanna first. So how has pageantry helped you in your career as a teacher?
Yeah. So, I mean, other than, I feel like I accidentally covered that in my last one with at least the interview aspect, right? But I think going back to, and this kind of also trickles into, I feel like all the questions, or the previous question, but I feel like it was a lot of, what I had to learn about pageantry is it's not like I'm trying to be someone else. Like, I feel like when I was younger, like when I first started out, I was like 15 or 16 and I wanted to be like the girls that I had seen, but I just didn't know how. And I thought, okay, I have to be like them, but that's like the wrong mindset. I don't want to be like them. I want to be like my version of them. Right. So I think what I got out of it for my career is in a similar way to how you put on a show, like your own best version of yourself, like on stage, and you put on your show when you're speaking to the judges, or when you have like an on-stage question, or just even when you're like strutting out there in your walk. I have to put on like a similar show in front of my classroom. Because let's be honest, 7th and 8th graders, how do you keep them engaged? You got to make it fun. You got to make it interactive. The same way that you're trying to like draw in the judges when you're speaking, I'm trying to draw in like 25 judges that are 12 years old and have like attention spans that non-existent after all like the day. So I think it's definitely, I mean, not only has it taught me to like juggle a bunch of things, because I can handle the chaos of like 12 kids coming up to me asking me either the same question 12 times or different questions all at the same time, and my head spinning. But I've kind of like learned how to deal with that, because like in a pageant, when you're in rehearsals, everyone's kind of screaming at you, all right, now look here, now look there, now this is what you're going to do, this is your mark. So I think it's taught me not only to just handle the chaos that's thrown at me, but it also has taught me how to like present myself in a way that draws people in, and like even like students in.
I love that. I know there was an interview coach that did a session with us leading up to Miss Earth USA. You might remember this. And she told us to practice our impact statements like we were talking to first graders, and then to tone back from there and to learn how to make it engaging that way. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Adrian, what have you noticed with your clients in terms of pageantry helping them with their career goals?
Well, that's $1 million question. I think, frankly, I think a lot of people, a lot of the contestants watching, or parents, if you can work out that piece, I think that's something really worth figuring out, is like, how does your pageant actually flow into your intended career? Because I think that should affect your pageant selection. So even at a very base level, if you're looking to graduate debt-free, then you're looking at a scholarship system, right? If you're looking at red carpet opportunities or becoming a bona fide, to steal Morgan's favorite word, a bona fide celebrity, then you're probably going more the Miss USA route, right? And so I think you look at the skills that you learn, and I think it's really interesting what Geanna said, because I've worked with a lot of young kids as a tennis coach, and she's absolutely right. If you don't know how to entertain them or engage them first, this is where a lot of young teachers say, oh, I have these like discipline problems and the kids are crazy and, they're running around. And my kids would have tennis rackets and tennis balls. It doesn't end well if they're bored. But then I will say, like, oh, it's because you're boring. Like, if I was in your class, I'd be bored and I'd probably be whacking other people with tennis balls as well. And so learning that, and it goes even back to what Morgan said about being willing to go on stage, which I think is really interesting, the whole swimsuit discussion, because I initially thought that swimsuit is not empowering. But what I did decide was, well, let me ask the women who are doing it. And then I found the majority of the ones who are doing it, because obviously not all of them have to do it, depending on the system, but the majority, not all, but the vast majority of women doing it found it incredibly empowering. And so I took a step back and went, well, if you guys find it empowering, who am I to say that it's wrong, right? Because it's about you guys, not me. And so I think working out in advance how the pageant you're doing, what skills can learn and transition to your career. And it could be skills. It could be, as I said, the network of people you met. But I think, frankly, it's something that we should probably consider more, because very often a pageant, and Haley, you'll know this, Haley, you finish a pageant and then it's like, and then you hand over your crown and then what now? And I think having a discussion as to how going from pageant to the rest of your life, rather than just feeling like you're a has-been or a has-queen now, I think that would be really important so that people can make that transition more seamlessly.
I have so much time, guys. It's so weird, and I don't know what to do. But I'm working on it. I'll let you know when I figure out what that transition is actually like, because I know a lot of people right now are getting ready to go into not having titles anymore. I have a bunch of friends who are crowning their successors, and they're figuring out what life is going to be afterwards. And it's really sad, but also exciting to move on to another chapter. Morgan, anything to add on pageantry and careers?
I mean, pageantry is the reason for my career now, and I certainly didn't expect it to be. This is me doing this job as a man plans, God laughs scenario entirely. For me, I kind of got thrown into it, and in the best way, and I'm so grateful for it. Looking back on what my experiences were like, I think I was able to approach how I do what I do with a thought process of, this is what I want to make sure I'm not doing with my clients, because this is what I had to deal with. So I was kind of able to take notes from that and make sure that that was being applied for me specifically. I've always been outspoken and outgoing and loud, and I was the biggest flirt in my high school. That was like my senior superlative. So in terms of that, I didn't need the pageants to help me get out of my shell or to help me translate. I do think that it was beneficial for the interview processes when I was working in corporate America. I think the coolest thing for me is the amount of women I work with, getting to see what their lives look like going from pageant to after. And I have some clients who, they're like Hannah Montana. Like, they have like two separate lives. Like, they have their regular life and then they have their pageant queen life, and the two of them do not really interfere with each other. But then I have my Crystal Foots, who finishes doing Miss USA and then starts a shoe brand line, which is really stinking cool to see. Or, I've got my girlfriend Layla, who once was a competitor and now is a coach. So it is cool to see the women Alexis Lumens, who went from competing on the Miss USA stage to being a signed model all across the country and even internationally signed now. It is really cool to see the different directions that these women choose to go in post pageantry. And I think a lot of times from the outside looking in, it could be like, oh, that was random. I didn't even think that that was going to happen for them. But like for Crystal, she did pageants and she saw that there was a gap where there was not inclusivity that she needed, and she decided to take it and run with it. So that's really stinking neat for me to see. And it's one thing that kind of just excites me when new women join the family over here, because I'm like, I'm excited to watch you compete, and I want you to win, and I want it so badly for you guys. But what I want even more is to see the woman you become in the process and the woman you become afterwards too, because to me, that's even more thrilling than the 1 year that you have the title.
Yeah. Love Crystalfoot. And I think pageant girls have this really unique skill of taking negative experiences or problems that they've had or seen other women struggle with and turning them into platforms or brands, like her shoe brand. And I think that's really cool. So we've all heard the stereotype that pageant girls are mean. So show of hands real quick. Has anybody in here experienced that to be true? Right.
That's a loaded question.
In general, right? Probably not. So I want to go to Geanna first. Competing in pageantry, how do we stay focused on competition and being our best selves while also empowering the women around us and making friends with our peers rather than keeping that competitive stereotype that we hear about all the time?
Yeah, actually, so I did a speaking thing yesterday with like Girls Inc., which like I don't know, is that I think that's an a national thing, Girls Inc. I think it's across the country, but I was with our local chapter on Long Island, and I got a similar question about how I deal with that. I think the biggest thing, and I said this then, I'm gonna say it again. I think it's you got to take yourself out of it and not think of you are competing against someone else or trying to beat someone else. Like you're never trying to beat the other girl. You're trying to, like, at least in my head, I'm not trying to beat anyone. I'm trying to be the one for the judges, right? So I'm not trying to be better than anyone else. I just want to be the one that stands out. And like that can be completely different from how another girl stands out. And that kind of goes back to, I think I said something along the lines of, like, you should never you could take inspiration from other women that you see, but you shouldn't want to be them per se. You want to be yourself, but like that version of yourself that makes you feel as powerful as like they come off to you. So I think definitely looking introspectively at yourself, like the comparison has to stop of like, oh, this girl like has this, like her body's better than me, her dress is better than me, like, oh, I think she has like a better platform than me. Like you got to take yourself out of that and be like, okay, well, but my platform is good too, and like my body's good too, like this is the best my body has been. Like, you got to put yourself in that sort of mindset before you go in there, because you're going to make yourself so much more ready to make connections and make friendships, as opposed to like getting there and kind of shutting down and like going inside of yourself because you're like feeling insecure.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the movie I Feel Pretty? No. Okay. Long story short, a girl hits her head. She was really insecure. She hits her head. She becomes really confident. And just the switch, she thinks she changes the way she looks. She doesn't. But the switch in confidence changes the way everyone perceives her. And it's the same thing. If you're up there and you're feeling insecure because you're too caught up with comparison, it's gonna read. But if you do exactly what you say, where you're like, bro, my body is tea too, like my platform's incredible, like my gown is stunning, the judges are gonna read that. They're gonna read that confidence, and they're comparing you to other women, but they're not sitting there going, well, contestant 6 had 4 abs and contestant 7 had 5. They're judging contestant 6 and then judging contestant 7. They're judging you separately. So you're 100% on freaking point of like taking that comparison and just switching it over and being like, no, like the belief in yourself is what changes the game 100%.
Yeah. And it's worked for me like already, like when I've changed, like I've done the same pageant and gone from not placing to winning. And that's all because I think the first year I was completely just like caught up in this and that and the comparing the headshots when they come out on the website. Like enough of that. And just like, yeah.
Adrian?
I was too busy listening to Geanna. What was the question again?
How do we stay competitive while also empowering women around us in pageantry? Any advice that you would give a client who is maybe struggling with comparison or maintaining confidence when all of the headshots drop for a pageant they're competing in, that sort of thing?
I think there's two ways of approaching it. I think first realize that everyone is struggling with that to an extent. I'm currently looking to work with really, really competitive people. And this is not everyone, okay? But I literally said, if you think of first runner-up as first loser, we need to have a talk, because there are people who have that level of competitiveness. And I don't want to make it wrong, because I'm very competitive as well. That's one of the reasons I love tennis. So that's one thing. But I like what Geanna said in terms of competing is not about beating other people. And I keep saying this, I don't know how many of you watching or listening know that the original derivation of the word compete is not to beat each other up. In Latin, I think, it might be Greek, but in Latin, it's to actually seek a goal together. So what that means is if you think like on a tennis court, or if you're in UFC, you're sparring, the goal isn't to beat the other person to a pulp. The goal is that you practice with each other and you compete with one another so that you both become better. I think competition is a good thing, a healthy thing. Of course, if you take it too far, it can be bad. But when I was teaching myself tennis, I wanted to play against the best people. And I would lose horrifically, right? Like barely win a point. But that's how I was leveling up, was actually by competing with people so I could become better. And then later on, by the way, you pay it back by maybe working with people who aren't quite as on your level, but you work with them so they can level up as well. So I think understanding what the word compete actually means to each and every one of you is incredibly important. I don't think it's about win or lose. I don't think it's a zero-sum game, even though in some circumstances it can be, such as pageants or tennis. The other thing I say in terms of just the mechanics of it, I'm a huge fan of the mute function, especially on Instagram. There are certain Instagram, social media is designed to get you guys to compare yourself. And I don't think that's good for anyone's mental health. So mute, I think mute the people you're competing with, don't block. Okay, I'm not saying block. And I'm not saying unfollow, because you want to be supportive, but mute. And if there's someone you're good friends with, then you can go to their profile and still check. But I will say all of the women who I work with, some of whom are very high level national title holders, et cetera, a lot of them deal with issues that stem from comparison. And so I think absolutely compare yourself less, compare yourself to who you were maybe yesterday. I think that's the best form of comparison. But I don't think competition is a bad thing. I think we used to call it in tennis cooperative competitive. So you'd have to work with people, but you're also competing. And the idea is that everyone is leveling up. It's not that if I win, you lose, and and you suck it sort of thing. So that would be my take on it, coming from a more competitive sports background.
I like that. So I just have one more thing for you guys. It's a rapid fire. Who is a woman that inspires you? I'm going to go to Morgan first.
Does that have to be in pageantry?
No.
My mother. 110%.
I love. Geanna?
Ooh, okay. I mean, now I feel bad if I don't say my mom. No, I'm kidding. Definitely, I mean, I want to say that, but if I'm like looking at, I guess, competitive nature too, recently, like the Olympics, like Alyssa Liu, who won the figure skating gold for like the first time in 20 years or whatever it was, 24 years. Her. I don't know if I have to explain. Do you want me to explain or just rapid fire?
I understood that. You can explain if you want to, though.
No, I just think like going back to something like on your own terms, and like if you like, I feel like there's so many pageant girls that might be burnt out, and it's like it's okay to take a step back and take a break and then like come back on your own terms when you're ready. I feel like everyone thinks they have to compete. Like they got to plan their next thing right after they're done with their last thing, right? But I think kind of doing it for yourself, like taking the toxic people off your team and just kind of focusing on yourself.
One of the things Alyssa Liu said that I really loved was, no one's going to tell me what I can and can't eat. And she went back to figure skating.
Except
and
for
had a
maybe
really
Morgan.
healthy
No, I
time.
love it. I will
Except for
never tell a
Morgan.
girl what she can't eat. That's iconic.
Yeah.
Morgan will tell you what your macros are, and she will let you
Yes.
eat carbs, and that makes me really happy. Adrian, who is the woman that inspires you?
Well, I want to throw it back to Morgan for a sec, because you said your mum, but I think we need to give kudos where it's due, because I know for yourself, Haley, and I'm sure for Morgan, definitely for myself, I'm not sure for Geanna. I mean, your mum in your formative years is like your example of what a woman can be, in many ways, what a woman should be. And I remember my mum, I come from a family of doctors. So I already said my father was a hematologist. All I remember was that my mum would be waking up, 5 a.m. every day and going to work, and then not coming back till 5, 6, 7 p.m. And she's still working to this day, right? And she's like the hardest working woman, hardest working person I've ever met. But then you also have to realize I lost my baby sister when she was like, early 20s. And sometimes I think what you don't see is that a woman is keeping it together, and you don't know the obstacles she's overcome. I mentioned at the beginning, a 7-year-old who's overcome leukemia. I was working with a 13-year-old client the other day doing an introduction, because I don't like taking people's money if I'm not the right coach. And she gets on and she's telling me about her story, and she's trying to put on the stoic face for it. But she said that she had lost her dad to brain cancer when she was 4. And you can see the tears in her eyes, and her mum's doing the best that she can. So the mum is not only the breadwinner, she's also the mum, she's also the dad. And yet you also have this young girl, 13, young woman, who is trying to keep it together and being a role model and is working hard. And yet she has this incredible pain. And that's something, we call it like man flu, right? Like when a guy gets a flu, you never hear the end of it. It's like, oh my God, I'm dying. And then you'll see the woman is dealing with this, with this, with this, with this, with this, and they're not saying anything. And I know that's a stereotype, but I think one of the things, so I'll say my mom, right? But it's because of everything you don't see.
Yep.
That's really the big thing, is everything that's going on behind the scenes, and a woman will deal with it all. And you'll never know, especially if you're a guy and maybe you're not looking into things too carefully. And this happens all the times in pageantry. People look at you guys and go, oh, everything must be perfect in her life. Really? Maybe ask her that, and I bet you'll find out differently, right? But Morgan, I mean, you said your mum as well. I said, why my mum? But we need to know a little bit about you as well.
So I'm an only child. My mom always had a rule for me when I was growing up, and it was that she would support me in anything that I wanted to do, but I had to get up and go do it myself. I had to want it. I had to work for it. She wasn't going to force it. She wasn't going to make it happen for me. So she for sure instilled a very insane level of work ethic in me, and never made me feel like nothing was impossible for me to reach, but definitely drove home that it's not just going to come free. But outside of that, I watched her in my early teen years walk away completely from a very unhealthy marriage and start over from the ground up. And I remember to this day, when she started over with nothing more than photo albums and a laundry hamper full of clothes. And I watched this woman rebuild her life completely. And I'm sure for her, it's weird to think what your parents are dealing with, because you forget that they're kind of experiencing life for the first time too, and they're growing up too. And now that I'm in my early 30s, I'm like, man, like that had to have been insane for her. It had to have been like such a scary time. But for me, it was so awe-inspiring to see a woman who refused to settle for a lesser life, and who said, this will not be how my story ends. This is not going to be the story that I'm living. It's not the example I'm setting for my child. And she threw her hands up and started over fresh. And I watched her rebuild everything from the ground up. And like, when I tell you, this woman, like your mom too, was a workhorse and a powerhouse, and she just continued to level up and set the bar higher and higher for herself and pushed through every single plateau and every single thing that got in her way and never looked back. And that is, it's a very brave thing to decide that you want your story to end differently. And she decided it, and getting to watch that happen and that come to fruition and getting to see her now in a completely different place in life and so happy and genuinely thriving. It's the coolest feeling in the world. And like, I know that typically your parents are always like, I'm so proud of you. But like, as a kid, it's really cool to be able to be like, dude, I'm so stinking proud of my mom. Like, how iconic that she did all of this and made it happen for herself. So she's just an all-around baddie, Buffy the baddie. Shout out to Buffy.
I love
Haley, we'll just say Buffy has commented on Instagram. Oh, I love you, Morgan. You inspire me more. You chasing your dreams is so inspiring, and loving your girls.
Oh, and Haley, your mom commented when we were talking about comparison and competing, and she wanted to let all of the ladies out here know that you should not pay too much attention to these fan accounts because they can be bought. So girls, if the fan accounts stress you out and cause you to compare and freak yourself out, Haley's mama said, don't let it.
Yes, we learned.
Go Haley's mom.
Yeah, go Haley's mom. We learned when I was competing for Miss Earth that many fan accounts, you can buy your place in the hot picks. You can buy promotions, and they are very happy to let you do that. And what's interesting is they'll DM contestants and say, hey, you're my favorite to win, and never post them because they're not paying for it. So
how did I not know this, T?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's insane. So as you see that happening, genuinely means absolutely nothing. Just ignore it. Because you might never get posted, but you could be top of their list. And it's also just one person's opinion, and you have no idea who those people are. It's a faceless fan account. Like, we love that we have fans. We love the pageant fans, but don't engage in anything that hurts your mentality. You know, just
well, then I will. I got Haley to interview me, and I'm just about ready to release it. I edited down a bit because I talk too much. If you want to get me to rant, just ask me how I feel about hot picks.
Yeah.
Literally, I won't shut up for 10 minutes about every reason why it's wrong and that they should be able to do it, but a pageant contestant should never engage with it. It's a bad idea, and I think it's kind of sick. I think it's kind of a...
No offense. I honestly feel like the hot picks, like the pages where they rank the girls of like who the winner is going to be, I might be wrong. I feel like it's almost like a kiss of death. Anytime I've seen them put a girl as a winner, she never wins. Like, I have rarely seen them pick winner and then she ends up being winner. Like, she might not even make the top 20.
I've seen it already.
Can I just say, like, because I saw one very popular person over in the UK decide because it's all about the views, right? The clicks, as the kids like to say. And she decided to do this section where she would critique other contestants' gowns, and she literally called it wear or tear, right? And I don't quite understand how, if we're talking about inspiring women, by the way, right? Empowering other women, how you could bring on someone else's, like a young woman's gown. And bear in mind, she might have come from a family where $50 is a lot to spend. And you're going to go on your social as some 40,000 influencer and say, oh, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing this. I'm like, you need to have a really hard, long look at yourself and find some way to have a soul. Because right now, all I see is a giant gaping void that you're trying to fill by tearing other people down. And I think it's sick. And this is why I don't like it, because it doesn't make anyone feel good. Because if I have a client and they get picked on the hot pick, and I got picked on the hot pick, I will say, ignore it. Do not pay attention to it. It's noise. They don't know you. All they've seen is a headshot. And then, your caption that you wrote underneath, they don't know you. They don't know your insecurities. And by the way, even if they did, they don't know the other 50 women who are competing, who all maybe have been working hard and all have their stories. So hot picks are like the opposite of empowering women. I don't think that anyone should be doing, especially if you're a coach or you're another contestant. If you're a fan account, you do you. I would ask you, can you do something that's a bit more uplifting for everyone rather than just trying to chase the clicks or views? But I'll throw it back to Haley. And Haley, I think you should tell us about your mum as well. You should answer the question is, who's a woman who inspires you?
For sure. First of all, the wear or tear situation. I remember when I was in high school, there was a girl that wore this homecoming dress. It was a cocktail dress, and it had feathers on it. And it was this like super trendy red Sherry Hill design that everybody in the pageant world loved at the time. But she was bullied relentlessly because everybody else wanted to wear a really basic homecoming dress. And I felt so bad for her. So the other thing with the wear or tear thing is like, I'm sorry, do you work for Vogue now? Like, who asked? Who asked for your opinion? Who made you the authority on what gowns look good on stage? Like,
this is not e-news, girl. Like you're not.
No.
And also, if I'm being so blunt with you, coming from someone who has dealt with social media, a social media bully.
Yeah.
The second you decide to go introduce yourself to them in person, they start whistling Dixie, honey. They are singing a whole different tune, and they are so nice out of nowhere. So y'all do not let these people stress you out. Do not sweat them, because guaranteed if you approach them in public, they'd be like, oh my God, Miss Morgan, I love you so much. When you're going to be like, okay, yeah, but I saw you talking trash about me literally 45 minutes ago on Instagram. So yeah, these people, they're keyboard warriors.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. It's like, I have a screenshot from your story 20 minutes ago.
Care to explain?
Yeah, for sure. So you asked about my mom, Adrian.
Yeah.
My mom and I are very close.
I asked who's a woman who inspires you, and I made an assumption that it'll be your mom. So you can, I mean, she is watching. You can tell me that I'm wrong.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. So my parents got divorced when I was 3, and my mom went back to school and got her MBA while she was working full time so that we could keep our house. And she was raising me. I'm also an only child, and I was raised by a single mom, and she's also a former pageant queen as well. And boy, can that woman interview. When I was a child, I looked up to her and I was like, I don't know how you're so confident, because I don't have whatever it is that you have. Like, that's a very special kind of sauce, and I would like some of it. Can you share? And when I was 16, I started competing in pageants, and she coached me, and it became our fun thing that we like to do together. And now we're the dynamic duo behind the scenes doing all kinds of crazy things. So yeah, my mom inspires me every single day. She's overcome so much to be where she is. And she's one of those people, like you said, Adrian, where you would look at her and look at her life and think that it just happened for her. And it was so easy. But there's so much that she's been through and overcome along the way to be the person that she is. And like you said, Morgan, I am so proud of my mom every single day.
Yeah.
So that is
women are goated. We're just the best, honestly. Sorry, Adrian. I can't even say sorry, because Adrian, you fall under. So today we had the photo shoot. It was female designers, female hair and makeup artists, and my husband shooting. So like, and then one of the designers' husbands was there. One of the models' husbands was there. And so I was like, it was all of these iconic women on International Women's Day. I was like, and then our radical feminist husbands. And I love a man who's a radical feminist. I love a man who loves and appreciates women and doesn't, change up the vibes or feel a certain type of way. Adrian, you fall in line with the radical feminist man. And I love that for you. Yeah.
Thank you. I was on a podcast once, and I have a friend over in the US, and she works, I think it was men's mental health. I can't quite remember. Anyway, she was, it might have been another International Women's Day, and she was saying that, certain men just don't understand it or aren't quite on board with the whole women's empowerment thing. And then she made the mistake. I don't think she meant this, but she said all men except Adrian, because he's enlightened. And I'm like, well, but I will say my whole journey in this space began because I was fascinated by trying to understand how women work. Because if you guys remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I think it was by a relationship coach who was also, they were both psychologists, I think, and they were married. And I just didn't like this idea that men can't understand women. I mean, there are some men who definitely can't understand women. I'm not going to deny that because they don't know how to speak, basically, past, monosyllabic grunts. But I don't know. I mean, there are obviously single dads out there doing it extremely tough as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I look at them and I'm equally inspired. But there's just something when someone like a Haley's mum or your mum, Morgan, and they've been through the wars and they maintain that base that, because you guys, when you're a child, you want your parents can't be running around freaked out all the time because then it really impacts you. And there's something about the way that a woman can be everything going on and, like the duck, and you just don't see the feet underneath the water. And I know some men are like that too. There are some men who aren't drama queens, but the whole man flu thing, I think really kind of just sums it up because a woman can be, I don't need to tell you guys, but obviously, that time of the month, there can be another thing going on, this, and they're like still smiling, nice to meet you. And then if a guy has a flu, he's like, oh my God, I'm dying. And it's like,
Yep.
Yeah. So it's been a fascinating 10-year journey for myself. But sorry, Haley, back to you.
That is what I have for you guys today. Happy International Women's Day.
Good job, Haley. Happy International Women's Day, ladies.
Oh, and I'm happy to be included as a radical feminist. Apparently,
Radical feminist.
I don't think I've ever been. I just think there needs to, because I was looking into the origins of International Women's Day, and so I've had a crash course. I didn't know this, but apparently it began over 100 years ago in the United States as a response to women's working conditions. And they wanted equal pay. They wanted the right to vote. And this was back in, I think, 1908 in Chicago. And then and it was allied with socialist movement, not the communist movement, but the socialist movement in the United States. And then I think in 1911, there was a horrific factory fire. And I think there was 140 something workers killed and 120 of them were women. And so back in those days, women working conditions were terrible, unsafe. They were paid less. They didn't have the right to vote until a bit later on. And that was the origins of it. The UN apparently took it up in 1970 something. So that's a bit more of a recent thing. But International Women's Day has been around for over 100 years. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's something that we should all get behind because I don't think the work is done. Yes, I think we've come a long way. I mean, women have the right to vote now. And I think pageantry is kind of a fascinating case study because it's funny sometimes sometimes men are not the greatest, right? We've seen that. But often you guys competing in pageantry as well, sometimes it can be difficult to be empowered and shine a light on yourself. I think Morgan said this, or might have been Geanna. I think one of the good reasons to compete in pageants is it gives you a reason to focus on yourself. It gives you an excuse to focus on yourself because sometimes when you do that, you feel guilty that you're not giving to everyone else around you. And that's something that I've really noticed, even working with young women. It's like pageantry is just a reason for them to take time to work on themselves. And if that's the only reason you compete in pageantry, then that's all right in my books. Let's go around the room, then we'll wrap this crazy episode up. So, Miss Haley, what have you got coming up this week?
I'm getting ready for spring break. I have class in a couple of days, so I've got to go write some essays, the usual. But right now, that is about it.
How's the essay writing going for you?
Very fun. It is a process. It has been occasionally humbling, sometimes introspective, usually challenging, but we're getting somewhere. It's nice to get on calls and get into breakout rooms with my peers and find out that they have the exact same problems that I have. So we've started workshopping because I have a long form essay that's about 20 pages that I have to write over the next month. And I'm excited for it. Yes, Morgan.
How many times have you cried yet? Because when I was getting my master's degree, I had to have, it was at least a bi-weekly mental breakdown where I would just sob uncontrollably at least once, like every 2 weeks. Have you had one yet?
I did in undergrad. I have not had a cry for my master's degree yet. I'm about 6 weeks in. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Impressive, dude. She's a baddie. What? Like it's hard?
I don't know. She said that she's enjoying it, and then what she proceeded to describe was like the most
It
painful.
sounded terrible.
I know.
Horrible.
Like, essay writing. I'm an intellectual guy, and I did very well in education, but doing an essay is like pulling teeth. I'd rather get my teeth pulled. Give me a math question where it's right or wrong. Doing an essay, especially like the English ones, critique Shakespeare. What's the meaning of this? And you write and you really think about it, and you write and you write and you get 3 out of 20. And then the next day you're like, well, screw this. I'm just going to write as many words as possible. No coherence, 20 out of 20. And you're like, okay, this is just nonsense. The whole thing. And I will say that's why to this day, I'm not the biggest fan of anything that doesn't have a right or wrong answer, because no one could ever tell me, how do you get a good mark in an essay? I hate essays.
Okay. So when you asked how long it took me to write the foreword for your book, I was like, I'm not going to throw myself under the bus. I am. I'm shameless. I don't care.
Okay. I was going to
My
say.
master's degree, I had to write a thesis at the end, and they want you to start working on your thesis. I think for us, it was like 4 or 6 months out, y'all, because I had to do a study. It was a master's of science.
Yeah.
I conducted my study and wrote my entire thesis in less than 10 days.
I believe
It was
you.
the only paper I got a perfect score on.
Go Morgan.
I do really good under pressure. So when you were like, how long did it take? I'm like, not that long. Because when I just put pedal to the metal, it happens really fast. But writing papers, Haley's over here like, yeah, I have to write a 470 page. And I'm like, that sounds hellacious. It sounds like I would be doing it 37 minutes before it had to be submitted.
That happens
Yeah.
sometimes. What I will say about the work I'm doing right now, it's all original and it's creative. So I'll get
That's
like a
nice.
really vague prompt and then I just have to go for it. I don't have any instruction on the formatting or what I'm supposed to be doing. I just have to go for it. And then my professor is essentially grading my art and my ability to be a good writer. And that is really uncomfortable.
Hey,
I-
girl, come bare your soul and get a grade.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it's like because it's first person essays too.
I don't like any of this. How are you enjoying this? This just sounds like my idea of hell
She's
on earth.
sadistic. Haley, I
Like-
love you. She weird.
You're
In
kinda
the
right.
best way
You're kinda
possible,
right.
she weird.
No, because I've told you guys before that I like a challenge, and what I really mean is I like to suffer alongside
Right.
other people, and then I enjoy that I suffer less or I suffer more efficiently than other individuals do. I think that's what I like about pageants, because you could put me in a foreign country for 3 weeks and starve me, and I'll be fine.
Haley,
She loves it. She comes
Haley,
out the
I'm just
top.
going to say, Haley, I'm just going to say Jesus died for our sins. You don't need to suffer. You can
No.
stop.
Hey,
All right.
girl.
You can stop. All right. I don't know. That's like the most terrifying concoction of words put together I've ever. I'd rather go and compete in swimsuit on a stage in front of strangers than do what you just
No.
described.
I
Like,
love it.
First word, art and getting judged. Art, literally, there's no right or wrong, but we'll give you a grade. Thank you for that. No, go away.
However, with pageants, right, you go to an interview and you tell your personal life story that you've prepared, right, and how you would be a great candidate, and then you're judged on it. So basically, you're being judged on your art every single time, and you're styling yourself, right, and you're doing a performance. So in pageantry, we're always being judged on some form of our own art or expression. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. She's an educational David Goggins.
Thank
She's
you.
a scholastic David Goggins.
Who is David?
Yeah,
Goggins?
well, as
David
long as she
Goggins.
doesn't get to the point where she's flagellating herself so bad that she craps her pants,
That was
because
a-
that's what David Goggins did, then,
was the segue of all segues.
well,
David
that's
Goggins
what
is
Goggins, one
incredible.
of the stories Goggins told. Goggins is like Morgan's hero along with Walton
Yes.
Goggins, right? You got to think for everyone who's named Goggins.
I love the Goggins. David Goggins, you'll have to look up the lore on him. He's super hardcore, but at one point I think he went to go join, it
The
wasn't
SEALs or something.
the Navy
Marines
SEALs
and
or
SEALs.
something. They were
Yeah.
like, they literally, if the way he'll tell it is he was like, they said I was too fat. Like I had to lose 120
Yeah.
pounds or something like that. And this man went crazy. He went and he lost all of this weight in like 3 or 4 months. Like insanity. Like he's so hardcore. He runs ultra marathons. His toenails fall off, his skin peels off, and he'll cuss at the camera and he'll be like, "Get up. You're just explicit. Work harder." Like he has this kill, lock-in mentality. He loves the torture. He's like, he has his own character in his head that he calls Goggins, and that's who he locks into and becomes. So you're him. I'll have to send you TikToks.
Do you know what? Geanna, having competed alongside me and observed me for, I think, a year of our lives now, what do you think?
I'm still not wrapping around David Goggins. Like, I need like a visual. I need like
Adrian, can you get us a visual?
Okay, so he, when someone says sweat is just like laziness leaving the body, or you're up at 5 a.m. and someone's up at 4 a.m. stop being soft, or it's like if you haven't got what you want, it's because you spend too much time whining about why you haven't got it. He's that level of, I never put it together with Haley, but now that Morgan mentioned that, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to unsee it.
He's an educational David Goggins.
Yeah, they don't look anything alike. He's a tall, strong, like black man, so they don't look anything alike. But there's like a singular, it's like what Jocko Willink, who's also like that. He talks about ultimate extreme responsibility, and they'll say things like, everything is your fault. Not that it's your fault, but it's about what you're going to do. And I have an edge with that as well. So
he's a Navy SEAL.
It's very
yes, he was
extreme.
a Navy SEAL.
That level of
Haley.
This was him before and then after he got ripped to join the Navy SEALs. But basically they told him he couldn't join and he felt like he was a lazy POS and he needed to do something with his life. And he was like, I'm going to do it. And ever since then, that man has been balls to the wall intense.
Oh my God.
I feel like that's Haley's mentality. I feel like Haley's just like, you know what? No excuses. I can work harder. I can study more. I can write better. I feel like when you were prepping for Earth, I didn't know you then, but you were like, I can train longer. I can do my walk 5 more times. Who cares if my feet are bleeding and my blisters burst open? I can do that better. Let's go again. I feel like she's got this mindset, this lock in, which I have when I'm competing. When I was competing in fitness comps, I saw red. No one was beating me. When y'all talk about having healthy competition, I believe in supporting everyone, but I tell all my clients all the time, love them backstage, support them backstage. If their dress falls off and they need it pinned or whatever, help them. But when it comes time to compete, you walk them like a dog. I don't care if I'm coaching every girl on that stage. I'm telling her the same thing. So that lock-in mentality, it's a non-negotiable for me. I feel like that's Haley.
I like that.
Are you about to show us your torture devices?
I have a prop. Okay, so I went to Washington, D.C. to meet with a congressman about federal legislation for microplastics, and I wore these lovely shoes here. And you want to guess what that is?
Blood.
It's blood.
That's so hot.
I didn't even notice it. I got in the car and I was like, why are my feet wet? And I can't get it to come out. This is after me trying to clean it. This was like 2 weeks before we left for Pretty Down to Earth. And I still trained my walk. You can ask Joan from Devo Academy. I was on the calls.
And guaranteed, you didn't even limp in those heels. Guaranteed, she was bleeding. And she was like, I'm not limping. No one's going to see it. Like,
Lock in.
See red.
Yeah. Pain doesn't exist if you don't pay attention to it.
It's such a vibe. You scare me a little bit, but like in the best way possible. I love this.
Look, to be fair, you get it and I get it too. The thing that I've realized about myself with a bit more maturity is I'm someone who, unfortunately, perhaps I'm wired 2 ways. One is I'll do more for everyone else than I'll do for myself. So if I'm going in there for my clients or my students, there's never, I'm tired, my back hurts. It's we go until. And the other thing is I'm very much wired to prove people wrong. I like showing people that, or you can't possibly teach yourself tennis, or what do you know about pageants? Like, really? Okay. let's go. And then I'll throw down. I'll be very hyper competitive, and I will, with love, as Haley likes to say, punch people in the face.
Yes.
Because really, you want to have a go at me? Let's go, right? I think you need that, though, because in this day and age, if you don't have that inner competitive fire for something, you're just going to take, you don't have your own dream or your own vision, you're just going to live someone else's vision for you. I'm like, who wants that? That's why, like, when I say I like getting around weird people and normal is boring, and the worst thing you could say about me is, oh, he's really normal or he's really boring, which are the same thing to me. I'm like, I would take that as a highest offense. If you, what do you think about Adrian? Oh, he's like really normal. It's like, clearly you put me on a bad day because I am not normal. There's no way as these people. But Geanna, you've been way too quiet. You started laugh, or you had some sort of reaction to my going off on the English and creativity tangent and being mindful. You need to say something now.
Gianna's
what have you
like,
been
these
thinking
people are
over the
crazy.
previous 5 minutes of silence?
I'm following along, but also like what's happening. I just think it's really funny because like I was an English literature major undergrad with a bio minor. So like I have both sides, and I've just always been a little bit of like a chameleon in that sense. So like I don't understand why we don't like writing, because it's fun. It's fun, guys.
I like writing, but a specific type of writing. And the other type of writing can go burn in hell, if I'm allowed to say that, because I'll do creative writing and I love it. But when you're marking me for it, like I'll give you an example. In 5th grade, we had a creative writing test exam. The teacher verbatim said, I don't like things that are said in the future. If you wrote a story that was set in the future, I took off 20%. Now, explain that to me in a way that makes sense. Because as soon as I heard that, my brain goes, creative writing is a waste of time.
No,
that doesn't. You don't. That wasn't a good teacher, because like I creative write with like I have my kids do creative writing all the time, and what I'm trying to assess, especially because like I teach special education, so like a lot of them are behind in writing skills. So like what I do creative writing as a way to like at least get them to do a topic that they want to talk about, but then I assess like their actual like their grammar skills, their syntax, like what are they doing? So I kind of use it to assess the formal writing, but I do it through a creative writing lens so that they're more intrinsically motivated to do well and to like write well because they're writing about a topic that they want to write about.
Yes.
That's
the way you judge writing.
Yeah, I never judge like the story or like how they write, but like if something's grammatically wrong or, you know, a lot of them just not a correct sentence, you know, I call them out on that stuff. But I'm like, I like your story. This doesn't make sense.
You'd never call me out on my grammar or my spelling being wrong, because that's always right, because that's a right or wrong. And I'm, you know, very OCD this way. But what I will say is you can see this is why I'm so big on the importance of teachers or coaches or trainers, because one bad teacher in your formative years so that's why I hate creative writing. I'll do it for myself. But the big one I hate is art. And I'll tell you why, is because when I was in an art class, my art teacher, this gruff Scottish man, and we were doing a thing for Father's Day with clay. I've never worked with clay in my life. So I'm making like a plaque that says Happy Father's Day on it, right? And I'm actually really, really trying hard, and it didn't look half bad. This art teacher comes up behind me and goes, do you know what killing time is, laddie? Right? In his thick Scottish accent. And I said, no. I was like 11 years old. He goes, that's what you're doing right now. You're just wasting time. And people wonder why I don't like art. It's because I had that experience back then where I'm getting judged. Someone doesn't understand what I'm doing and they don't take time to understand it. And yet somehow I have failed because I don't want to get bad marks because I'm a high achiever, right? So as soon as you rig the game in a way where it's like, I can try my hardest and think I'm doing well, but you just tell me it's bad for no reason other than you just don't like it. That's why to this day, I have a thing against art. It's because of that formative experience maybe 30 years ago. But this is why teachers are so important, because one bad teacher, one bad coach, like in Morgan's case, can tell you one bad trainer and you got an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Great. Right? But you need someone to believe in you. And if you have that one person, they did a study. Sorry, I'll get back to you. with the Olympic people, like the women and men competing at the highest level, what was the one factor they had in common? Wasn't talent. It was they had one person early on who believed in them. So if I can be that person for someone, or any of you can, like Morgan with her coaching, Geanna with your teaching, right? That is so powerful. And that's why I will argue to my dying day that you need to pay teachers more. You need to invest in them more, because if you want your country to succeed, you can't be killing your teachers, paying them nothing, and make the cost of education through the roof. That's a really good recipe for falling flat on your face as a country. Sorry, rant over. Haley.
No, yeah,
No,
preach
good.
it.
I also wanted to add that I've asked Geanna to proofread my papers before in the past, that I've greatly appreciated her assistance in that she's really nice. And she's never made me feel bad about my occasional grammar mistakes.
We love queens supporting queens. It's
We
hot.
do. Thank
Go,
you for
girls.
empowering me, Geanna.
Anytime.
Thank you.
This is what I said about pageants. Like you go and compete with them. And as I said, I got my view on what compete actually means. And then you end up, a year later, and you're checking each other's English essays or your creative essays or whatever. It's like, you don't know the power of one connection. You never know where it's going to lead. Anyway, we got around to Haley, and then we went on a giant tangent. Geanna, have we discussed what you're doing in the next upcoming weeks? I can't remember.
No.
Okay, go for it.
But I can start. A lot of craziness, a lot of getting as far as school wise, getting IEPs like written, because it's like that season where it's like all the meetings and trying to get those done. And yeah, so that'll be fun, as well as like just different appearances coming up. I think I have one like every single weekend through April or something. Well, no, like through to the beginning of April, and then I get a little bit of break, and then it gets crazy again. Speaking of writing, lots of fun things coming out that I haven't announced yet, but will soft launch right now for something that will be dropping soon. And I'm trying to think of what else.
That's a lot already.
Yeah, but I mean, like all my little jobs, I have like 3 freaking jobs and who knows what. But and then staying on top of my prep for Miss New York USA, when we don't know when Miss New York USA is. So I'm just kind of like prepping for nothingness. But yeah.
That sounds like that very nihilistic. I'm preparing for nothingness. It's just like the end of the world.
That's never like I'm preparing for oblivion, because like at this point I don't know when the end date is, like what I'm preparing for. I'm just prepared for whatever it may be.
This is great. We have Haley flagellating herself, living for the punishment. You're preparing for nihilism. Morgan, can you rescue us? Is your week looking a bit more optimistic, or are you just joining these people on their self-flagellating nihilistic journey?
Well, speaking of bad teachers, I'm going to just go ahead while we aren't on that topic anymore. I'm going to throw us back to it. Shout out to that one college professor. I can't remember your name anymore. At my first college, who told me I had to be more than a blonde bombshell to get somewhere in life. You were wrong, bro. Suck it. Happy International Women's Day, because it was a women's college. Suck it, sis.
That's worse.
That.
2 middle fingers.
And Geanna, I will tell you, I'm telling all of my girls for USA to assume you're competing in May.
Okay.
And that way you can try to be ready by May, and then you just get to coast for June and July until it's competition time, because we already have dates for Miss USA. So we know that you all have at least 2 weeks between comp and USA. So prep for May and pray it's later. Outside of that, I am getting back into the groove of coaching, logging out as photographer's wife and logging back in as Mama Morgan. And we are officially moving on Friday. So we have movers coming, taking all of the heavy things. I'm not lazy, I promise. But after this being the 3rd move in a year, my husband and I have just decided that we're done asking friends and family to throw us a couple of bones and help and be a favor of, can you pick up this very heavy dresser for the 87th time this year? So we're officially moving on Friday. But outside of that, we're snatching waist. We have USA dates in place. State dates are slowly trickling in. teen volunteer just wrapped up. I sponsored the fitness portion of that. So getting to see the incredible women or teens, women getting rewarded for their hard work was really awesome. And I think that's going to kind of push the volunteer misses into overdrive now. So I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring to the stage at nationals. And yeah, just living La Vida Loca.
I think moving is the only thing that I might enjoy less than creative writing.
I like getting to
Moving is-
redecorate.
Can you write a
No.
creative story about you moving, please? It's due
Yep.
by next week.
Oh,
Yep. But I'm gonna do it in future tense so that Adrian deducts 20%.
I didn't deduct marks because I'm not a moron. My teacher deducted marks. And by the way, I remember the names of my teachers who threw me under the bus. They're probably dead now because they were old back then, and so they're probably dead now. I don't mean that to be insensitive. My art teacher, his name was Mr. Campbell. The English teacher who docked me marks, his name was Mr. Strasberg. And I will say my lovely PE teacher, who when I tried throwing a ball told me, ironically, I threw like a girl and did not mean it as a compliment, by the way, his name was Mr. Baker. So I remember the people who said stuff about me. So
I don't
it leaves an
block them
imprint.
out. They're irrelevant to me now. They traumatized you
Literally.
permanently. I was just like, cool, I'm gonna bank that and then I'm gonna ruin everything you told me. But I can't even remember her name. She was scary though.
But I mean, I will say no one would have been able to predict the career that I would have coming out from high school. Or, you know, it's not like pageantry is a tertiary. I don't know. Is there a degree in pageantry somehow in the
Not
United
yet.
States?
There
Not
might
yet.
be at some
No.
point. Wait, Adrian, I feel like sometimes you don't tell us. What are you doing this week? Because sometimes you forget and you don't tell
Oh yeah,
us.
no, I forgot. That's a good question. I have a coaching call after this. I'm leaning more into coaching, but specifically the people who are ridiculously competitive. And I'm putting in a framework so that they can strategize their win. I had a short discussion with Peyton about it, but I reverse engineer everything. So I look at the end goal and then I like to reverse engineer it. So I know that you're going to get what you want, which is the win. And so at the moment, I'm literally looking for hyper competitive girlies to work with because I want to test out whether my thought or my strategy works. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week. There might be another course coming out or a course coming out. There may be another book as well, but I'm going to play it close to my chest because it's not going to be for everyone. It's not like the beginner's guide. This is like, you want to win? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Read this, do it. It's that simple. So that's what I'm, because my brain has just been really focused on. A lot of you guys work and you do the same thing, and it's like, oh, I've got a pageant coming up. Here's what I'll do. I'll buy my dress. I'll start working out at the gym. I'll do my platform. And it's like, okay, but back up for a sec. What's the actual end goal? Right? It's like when I say with interview, you practice interview, great. But it's not about going in there and keep all my answers under 30 seconds. You need to go in there and persuade those judges you are the best and only choice. Those are not the two same thing. And sometimes I feel that contestants start working on the wrong things because they don't know better. I'm saying, hang on, what's your end result here? It's like what you do, Morgan. It's not like we don't just starve ourselves to death, right? We think about what we want. It's, what do you say? Badass in the body? Is that what you say?
Huh?
You say badass in the body. I can't say it with an American.
I can't cuss.
Oh, okay.
I sponsor high school pageants now, national level.
Oh.
Anyway, that's what I'm doing. All right. It's the hardest thing is to get to an end of one of these episodes and not say anything that we're not allowed to say. Okay, so I'll let Morgan off the hook. But Morgan, so you asked me, what have you? I've asked you. All right, you're moving. Oh, good luck with that. And no, Geanna, I'm not doing creative writing on my least favorite subject. I'll get ChatGPT to do it for me. I ain't touching that one. But I'm going to say thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to these lovely ladies for their time on this International Women's Day. Thank you to Haley for taking the reins for a bit. And thank you to Geanna for subbing in for our Georgia Peach, who said like she felt like she got hit by a truck. And we will speak to you next week. Bye for now. Hi guys, thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in winning not just at pageantry, but at life, come on over to thepageantproject.com, giving out free weekly pageant coaching tips. You can get all the podcasts and interviews there as well. You can sign up for a member completely for free, doing weekly mock interviews and everything like that. So come on over to thepageantproject.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll speak to you again soon.